but just so that when you're running and stuff, from the point of your ankle, that those muscles aren't working too hard or aren't being overworked. So that's what I think that one of the main reasons is for this it's like a counterweight or a counterbalance back here. It's my guess. Um, and when you don't notice it, I think that's an ultimate sign that it's doing its job. My first thoughts while running in the shoe were, this is terrible. The Hoka Bondi X. This is a review done by me, the heavy runner weightlifter, a heavy runner. So I'll start with the upper. The upper is breathable. It's soft. It actually looks like it's a 3D printed overlay, but I don't know for sure. The toe box, as people put it, it's got a little extra space. I'm not a big fan of that. I figured it was okay this time, but it was noticeable, and I'll get to that why later. And also, so a big problem was that I thought, since everyone was talking about how much space there is up here, that it would be fine for me, but it wasn't. It was because the upper up here is so baggy by the forefoot. So, um, oops. And what that mainly does is it allows your foot to slide around. And so what you're getting a couple conflicting feelings. The heel cup, which is amazing, it's super rigid. Like, this shoe is really rough back here, but it's fine because it's padded, and for the most part it locks you in. So it's just conflicting because right after this point the shoe just goes floppy. So you're getting all this control back here, but then it just gets loose and floppy up here. So I found that to be this bagginess. It's a little confusing because you look at a shoe with the carbon plate and you think performance orientated, right? So you put a little bit of power, you put a little speed into it, and you get a little squirrely up here. You think performance, but the upper reminds you that this is more of like an easier day training shoe. But more on that a little bit later. The tongue is perfect. Well, first the laces. The laces work fine. I'm struggling to get lockdown up here. I think just this little area up here is really strong, so I can't get a good pinch on my metatarsals to control some of that sliding. But everything else after that is good. It just zips right up. The tongue is perfect. It's both gusseted on the inside, and it's got this Bondi X lace loop in it, so it's pretty sturdy, and it works perfectly for me. My ankle sits right in there. I knew my ankle was going to fit. I don't have one of those ankles that sit low. So this thing is like made for me. I absolutely love the tongue. But for me, that's about it with the upper. I wish all my shoes could have just a lovely, it feels like suede inside there, tongue like this, and it's got like that hard, like almost like plasticky fabric, a reflective piece. Perfect. It's definitely it's definitely my favorite tongue. It's breathable. But anyways, now for the insole. I took it out because I was looking at it. This is the regular Ortholite insole. This lasts forever. It'll just get a little softer. But this Ortholite insole, coupled with the baggy upper, can lead to heat spots underneath, which is what I got during my first run when I was picking up the pace. The hot spots went away, but they were unnoticed. They were definitely noticeable, and I couldn't ignore them. So just depending on who you are, that might just look out for that, and don't push it and get issues that you don't need to get. Just slow down and let it cool off, or something, or just try and tighten your laces, or figure out your sock situation. Just try to be careful about all that heat that can build up in there. So now for the midsole. It's got the carbon plate, but I would say without the carbon plate, this shoe has a better rocker than the original Bondi. This feels like a Bondi. I had the Bondi 6, and this feels like a Bondi. But what's better is that it's got a better rocker and more toe off. So just with the foam alone, a bit more plush, this shoe immediately just feels better than the Bondi. But now for the different foams, I'm wondering if this upper layer is softer than the lower layer. I keep squeezing it to just try and feel. This upper layer reminds me of the Rincon 3 foam, just a little bit more firm. And this lower layer, it doesn't quite feel exactly the same as the upper layer. They don't even maintain the same textures. I don't know if I could show in here. They're two different textures. So even almost kind of two different levels of white, if I can even show that right. So I think that's what's happening here. You're getting a dual layer foam because there's very little bit of this foam back here underneath your heel. The rest of it is just all this lower layer foam, which definitely feels more springy and is more firm. So this upper layer is more soft and this layer is more springy. That's the sensation that I'm getting. So the carbon plate, I mean, it seems rigid, but it doesn't seem like as rigid. Like I have the Adizero Pro 2, and that's one rigid carbon situation going on there. But this shoe isn't as rigid. But one thing with the Hoka Bondi midsole is that it was always kind of rigid. So when you add the plate, you are gonna, like, I did feel a little bit of the stiffness in my run. When I did quicken the pace, I did start to feel a pop. But for those first 3 miles, it was horrible. The shoe was like harsh and jarring. I felt like the shoe was just beating me up. Each step felt like the shoe was like trying to assassinate me or something. It was just a nightmare. But until after the 4th mile, I started walking in it, and I just got more of a feel for the flow of the shoe, and I had to reach my foot out a little bit farther ahead of me to land on it to get a good proper roll, and I started to feel the plushness. I almost started to worry if I got like a fake shoe, like a dud or something. So there was definitely some braking required. In fact, after my run, well, actually, I'll get back to that. But anyway, so the midsole, it definitely feels plush, far more plush than any Bondi shoe I've ever run in. The Bondi just doesn't feel like a plush shoe. It's more firm and bouncy, but this one is definitely plush. It's got a good roll off, and it actually gets fun. As for the outsole, I ran in the shoe on a rainy and wet day, so I didn't really get to feel too much of it. So you're not going to see any wear. There is no wear on this shoe right now. Just a little bit of discoloration from the berries and stuff I was running on. And everything under here was filled with berries and stuff. Just packed. I couldn't even bring this into the house. I had to clean it off. So outsoles, I feel like the outsole's just designed to last. Typically when you see a performance orientated outsole, it's got selected places for just for high wear marks, but this shoe, you see it everywhere. All of these pads are covered, so I think the shoe is designed to last. Another thing I noticed when it comes to pronation control, so you see this is the inside of the arch, and that's the outside of your foot. So typically when you step, you roll inside. Well, check this out, what I noticed. This inside here is almost like a medial posting. It's not a posting, but it's definitely wider than this section here. You see that? So on the inside, you're getting some kind of pronation control. So it prevents your foot from rolling in. And then when your foot rolls out, it swoops in here almost under your foot just to keep it pronation control. So there's a lot of evidence in this shoe that this is made for like long miles. It's made to be supportive. The carbon fiber plate's a little bit more flexible. The midsole is more softer. The rocker's smoother. It's got more toe off. These are reasons why people are talking. And ultimately, I feel like this is like a long run workout shoe for most people. I really thought a lot about why anyone would even need to get this shoe, because it's not a cheap shoe, and like a big question is, do you need a carbon plated shoe? Do you just want a carbon plated shoe with carbon fiber in it? You could always buy one cheaper than this. So why is this the shoe that you want? That's really what threw me off. But after having this, I can't wait to run in it again. So this is just my initial review. I only ran 6 miles in it, and the 6 miles, even though I complain about the shoe, they flew right on by it. And to be honest, I feel like I haven't even really used it. So I look forward to running in it again. I have a long run this Saturday. I'm gonna run 10 to 13 miles, and I'm just gonna see. My legs are so tired. Um, I'm just gonna see what I could do in the shoe if I either do a negative split or or just a long run workout. Just figure out what I want to do, just so I can fully test the shoe. And I'm gonna do several reviews on this because this isn't a normal shoe. This shoe doesn't fit in a specific category, so I just want to help narrow down what's going on here, just so I could help help people understand what this is. I do think this will benefit most people. I do think that if you're running long, then you might like this shoe. But there's a lot of shoes that have carbon plates in them that you don't need all this stack height. You don't need all this. You don't need all of this. You don't need all of this. But it is nice. Thank you for watching.